What's going on, YouTube? Clayqzalt back again with another My Hero Academia The Strongest Hero video. And today we're talking about Endeavor. He just came out. We're going to give a little bit of talks about him and apparently a global nerf that could really change how he is played and how good he is. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get into the nitty gritty here, and I'm going to give you guys my opinion just to make sure you're aware of what's happening. Just as a heads up, I have been without power for the last 3 days. As you can see, a giant tree crashed through my backyard, hit my freaking power pole, it started bringing down the wires, and it took the electric company and fire trucks and everything, you know, about 3 days to come out and fix it. So that's why I'm a little bit late to this show right now, but it just came back on like a couple hours ago, so thank goodness I'm here for Endeavor. So just wanted to fill you in on that. So essentially, like Aizawa, Endeavor is getting some changes to the global version, and some of them not so great, okay? And some of them not being the greatest thing in the world. So if you guys didn't know, Endeavor is going to be the type of character, and you guys know this from the show, and you can kind of see it with Shoto as well. As you use fire, it burns you, right? He can only be hot for so long before he starts taking himself down. He can't sustain that in the show. And so again, like I love about this game, they bring that to the character. It makes it really feel like his quirk, and that's why Shoto and Todoroki, you know, he is like his son and like his next step up, because he can use his ice powers to kind of cool that down, if you guys remember from the show. Well, in this game, the same thing happens, and he has a passive here. He uses, you know, his health. He loses health to do damage, but he does have a passive that says timely cooling. Every 10% reduction of temperature restores X amount of HP, okay? And we can see here on the global edition, it restores 1% plus, and this is the number that always changes as you rank up abilities, 1%. And you can see this is maxed out here. This is a big change if we go down here to the other version of the game, being 20%, 2% plus 20%. So when you max this bad boy out, it went all the way up to 20%. The massive HP change here is huge. It's even bigger, in my opinion, than the Aizawa nerf, okay? This changes how Endeavor is going to play. Now, when Endeavor was out in the other version, he was a PvE god. He did massive AoE damage, big damage. He can keep himself alive with his healing, right, as he cooled down, as you can see. But the problem that they've done now is they've totally nerfed that into the ground. It is not even close to the same. This is 20%, you know, 22%. This is 2%. That's 20% reduction, which is absolutely insane. I personally am of the belief this has to be like, it's so insane that I feel like this must be a typo. This must be something added in wrong. But as I've looked into the game, it does increase up to 1%. So as you level, it's like 0.75, you know, 0.8. And then as you max out and rank up, it goes to 1%. This change seems absolutely awful to the Endeavor character. I'm not saying that it makes Endeavor, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the problem that people are having, okay, and this is what this whole post is about, is they didn't reveal that they have done this to the global character. Now, I am of the thought process, and you guys could be different or whatever, that they don't really have to say that they did this, right? Because this is the global game. We're supposed to assume it's, you know, it's a different game, yada, yada, yada. You know, I don't think as a company, they're making these changes for a reason, right? Probably to stage up a way that Endeavor isn't the top PvE unit for the rest of the game, that you're going to want to pull other units, and to make him, you know, make other units somewhat competitive with him when you guys are doing PvE and stuff like that. However, it doesn't matter if the company owes us that. It doesn't matter if the company has to do that, because half the players out there aren't like you guys. You know, they're not fully committed to the game where they're looking up every number, they're calculating their damage, and they're not wanting to know exactly what the unit can do. They just have fun throwing spears and throwing fire around and screaming, Shoto! As Endeavor, right? They love to do that. So they don't really give a shit about this stuff. But for us to do, it would be nice if there were some better patch notes. And again, this goes back to the communication we've had with the problem with the whole time. The game is incredible. There are some systems, the stamina system, the hero coin system, and now we're seeing that we need patch notes bigger than what they've given, okay? So it's not that they owe it to us. It's just that what makes the game enjoyable for us, the people who really dive deep into the characters. We need to know before we spend our hero coins, what are the changes that you've made, instead of having to have people pull the unit and then figure it out on their own, okay? And like, again, it's tough to really push that on a company, in my opinion, because they're like, yeah, this is the global version, it has nothing to do with the other version of the game. However, let's be real. They need to open their minds and understand that other gacha games do talk about, you know, changes that are being made between the two versions, why they change it, and then give you the exact numbers to better fit yourself. It just seems like they need to put more time into the game. It looks like they are, right, by making these changes. They're obviously thinking into the future and how Endeavor needed to be a little bit of a nerf. He was too powerful before. However, you know, now you need to write that stuff in the patch notes. Like when you log into the game, it should say Endeavor's passive is changed. Or they can make a Twitter post. They love posting Twitter stuff about cookies and breakdancing. You can put this in a Twitter post. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to know. And as we scroll down, we can see the change here. And then we also had a little bit of a global buff, and this is going to be to his other passive. Endeavor gains 2% plus 2% attack bonus for every 10% HP lost. And we go down here, it was 2 and 1%. So it's a 1% buff. You know, it's not as big as that 19% nerf, but this is going to give him a little bit more of attack. So it looks like the way they want Endeavor to be, which I can kind of see him being like that. Like, this makes me think this is Endeavor, is he can glow like a star, baby. He does a ton of fire damage, but he also burns himself out, and that's going to be a problem. So while he's going to be a glass cannon type unit, he's going to do a ton of, he's still going to be super strong. He's just not going to be invincible like he was before. So as we scroll down, they talk about some other things, like some other passives, and they talk about his SSS passive. And his SSS passive is cracking combo. Each attack restores HP equal to 0.5% of the attack. When temperature reaches 100%, increase damage up. So this is another way that you can heal. So this person's Reddit post, and this is just their opinion, they're not really condemning or liking it, is that this was some kind of global shade shaft. That this was used in a way to make you guys want to pull his card, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And because he doesn't have that huge HP boost in this 1% here, in this cooling down phase, then it'll make more people want to go to his SSS class so he can get this passive. I just don't see it. I just can't. I think everybody who would want to SSS Endeavor are still going to do it. And it's not going to push me personally, as I'm even a well. Man, I just got to be completely honest here. I don't love Endeavor, so that's going to be something that plays into here. But, like, it doesn't make me think, wow, they nerfed him. Let me give them more money so I can get this SSS plus. Like, it actually makes me want to not do that. So I think it's the exact opposite. They talk about how with this change, it makes you want to get his card more because his card inflicts more damage with how much HP he's lost, right? So the lower his HP is, the more damage he does. He ramps up. He's got like this, I won't be defeated. You know, the lower he gets, the more dangerous he gets with Prominence Burn, you know, etc. You know, again, how he works in the anime. I just would always want his card. Like, always. Like, if I was pulling for Endeavor, just like All Might, All Might's cards literally read, All Might does more damage. That's pretty much all they read. I wanted them because I wanted my All Might to do more damage. It's kind of the same thing here. It's not like, maybe from an analytical standpoint, when you're an insane player, you want the absolute best. Like, okay, now he's losing more HP. I've got to get this card, and I've got to break through with it. It's the only way to get him to do damage. No, Endeavor's going to do amazing damage anyway. And again, it's not like you pulled for, and again, some people are like that, but I'm talking about the general base, because that's what I make my videos for. I'm trying to talk to generally about all of you and include you all. Everybody's going to want his card because it's his card. It's Endeavor's card. You get both of those cards on there, you get the set bonus. He does as much damage as he's supposed to. It doesn't, I just don't see the idea of the company being super shady and doing this for profit. The way I would see that is if they came down here and did the 1%. And again, I hope, I made a Twitter post to them. I was like, guys, can you comment on this at least? Like, this is insane. This is an insane nerf. Like, you got to at least comment it and tell us it's correct, it's wrong, or why you did it, or something, you know what I mean? But anyway, it would be different if they took this 19, or I guess it's 20%, because they took a 1% away from here, and they added it to this card. And it read, also, when he's cooling down, that's another 20% HP he gains. Because what does that mean? That means they took something from a character and added it to another thing you have to spend or get lucky to summon on. That makes more sense. Or they made some kind of like Endeavor costume, right? And it's a different costume for him. Maybe it's like his casual clothes. And in those clothes, it read that you get 20% healing. And again, I'm not defending the company. You guys can feel how you want. I always speak from my heart and how I feel. And like, I wish, you know, of course I wish they didn't nerf things. Like, but I can understand why companies nerf things. Same things in League of Legends, same things. They've got to nerf things to keep balance in the game. And it seems like the other version of the game really just let things go ham and let Aizawa run the show, let Endeavor run the show in PvE. It looks like for Global, they may be trying to change it a little bit. And there is some monetary value for them in doing that because then they release a new character. Maybe we get Le Million, I always bring him up. And he's a little bit stronger than Endeavor. And he can heal himself a little bit more, right? So that's a power creep that happens in these gacha games. But this kind of stuff happens all the time in gacha games. Again, I'm not saying it's a good thing, like this Reddit poster. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing they did this. I personally think it's, they went way too far with it. I'll say that. But I also don't think it's shady at all. Like, I cannot get on that boat. I'm sorry. If you guys do, I'm not gonna hate on you. I totally understand why you would feel that way. But like, it's just, do I think there needs to be changes with patch notes? Yes. Do I think that they did this on purpose to try to get you to pull for this card? No. You were always gonna pull for the card. Unless it had the HP healing on this, it wouldn't. So I'm going to go ahead and get off this Reddit post. I want to shout out this Reddit poster. Make sure a silent end. Whoever you are, thank you so much for putting this together. You are a beast. Getting these images, getting everything in here nice, and bringing this to the community's awareness It's huge. It's a huge deal, man. The company should be doing this, not just you. Maybe the company needs to pay you for a little bit to you know, make sure the community's on top of things. But after this, we're going to go ahead and head over and we're going to look at Endeavor himself. Okay, guys, so I'm bringing up his passive here, which is going to be his, like, quirk gauge. Not his quirk ability, but the gauge there. It's going to be his temperature gauge. And it says Endeavor's temperature will normally decrease over time when in Lance status. So when he's in his Lance form, he's actually losing temperature gauge. So it's very important. His temperature will rise to a maximum of 100 points. Every point of temperature increases attack by a certain amount. So that's going to be great. As you build up his heat, he's actually doing more damage. Again, the glass cannon, I'm burning up. And then, you know, he goes nuts or whatever. So then next up, we have the rest of his temperature gauge, which is going to be when he overheats, which is going to be the, like, worse off for him, right? When temperature exceeds 80%, Endeavor will lose 1% of his max HP per second. When Endeavor's HP reaches 25% of max HP, the HP decrease will stop. So he won't burn himself and kill himself, but he will go as low as 25%. So when he takes a hit from an enemy, you know, that's going to be really bad when he is lower. But again, he only loses 1% max HP per, so that 1% or that 2% we get with global, which hopefully the god they make it bigger after what we saw will make up for that. But that's not the only way he can heal, guys. He heals a few different ways. So we're going to head over to his actual quirk ability, and when he uses it, he actually gets a shield, depending on how much HP he's lost. So when he gets low, he overheated, he has a way to get that back. So he pops his shield, and as he takes damage, and you can see he's taking damage just from being overheated, he will recover the same amount of HP that he took while his shield was active. So if you know you're going to take a big hit, you know you're going to be, like, burning, you're in an overheat state, pop this shield, and it will give you a certain percent of his HP back, or the exact same that he gets, excuse me, not a percent. It will give him the exact amount that he lost right back after you use it. So it's going to be a game with Endeavor. The playstyle is going to be make sure you get as high overheated as you can, but you got to cool down eventually, or if you get hit, you're going to be knocked out. And that is why him losing that healing is a pretty big deal, because he needs that healing, but there are other ways. So we go ahead and look at his Q. Every one of his abilities will have a normal form and then a lance form. So we're just going to throw a lance at somebody real quick, and then he's going to pick it up and do a little slash, okay? And that's going to be his Q. And then he jumps in the air and just tosses it at him right there to finish it off when he wants to go back into normal form. So, again, there's two forms. He's got to throw the lance down. He's got to pick it up. And then now, you know, he's in lance form. So that's going to be the difference. Then when he throws it back down, he goes back into normal form. So that's going to be how you go between the two. If we take a look at the passives here for his Q, he's actually going to be able to heal off of this a little bit as well as he goes through the combo. So he's going to heal a certain percentage, 5% of his max HP. When he's in the last stage of his crackling combo, he's going to get 5% of max HP. So just like his passive that we showed, then just like his shield, and now this on his Q is going to be another way for him to gain HP. So again, it's not like he's totally bricked. He's actually still extremely powerful. His playstyle will be, hey, you got to be a little more careful. He's not invincible. He's not going to be healing like an absolute truck ton all the time, and you've actually got to be skilled to play him, which is kind of cool. Again, I love the fact that it feels like the show. He can't just overheat all the time or he's going to be in big trouble. His W, he actually draws the enemies in, which is great, and explodes out in fire. When he's in lance form, he's actually going to just stab the guy. He does a little stab there, but this is a great way to pull enemies in. It's great for AoE. We know there are a lot of times where there's a ton of enemies around you when you're running a hero assessment. This will be great for pulling them in, even when you're playing with your friends or other players, to have them be able to do their AoE and you knock them on the ground so everybody can be trouncing them and doing big damage. Moving over to his E, he's actually just going to punch the guy. Shoryuken! He's going to do a little bit of kin action here and then kick him on the ground. It's super sick. I love the way, dude, I'm telling you right now, I do not particularly like some of the ways this game's been run so far. Hopefully they start picking that up. But the problem with that is this game is just so well made. Like, just the game itself. Each character just looks amazing. Their animations are so cool. It really feels like My Hero Academia. And then you can see he has a different lance thing where he kind of sweeps nearby enemies, and that's going to increase his own temperature, it says. Boom, just big AoE damage. And that's why Endeavor's so good, right? He can get to a lot of attack from heating himself up, and then he does a lot of good AoE damage. Now, here's the only thing I don't really like about it. He does have an ultimate. It's not Prominence Burn, though, sadly, you know, his go-to move. It's Hell Lance. And, you know, it kind of looks a little bit like Prominence Burn. He's going to jump in the air, super fire, throw it down. I'm not saying it doesn't look cool. Big blaster. That could be Prominence Burn-esque, but I just don't know why they went with Hell Lance instead of his go-to move that we all know he plus ultras and looks super badass doing. So that's going to be Endeavor, and that's going to be, like, I'm going to try to go more in depth and show him if I end up getting him and getting lucky to pull him. But that's just him in a nutshell. And I wanted to show you guys a little bit more about his kit so you understood why the healing really mattered and why it being less could benefit you almost in a way. I know it sounds weird. Like, don't. Hey, put the Hell Lances down, guys. Listen, if he's at a lower HP status a lot more often, that means he's going to be doing more damage. Remember All Might, and everybody was giving me shit about how All Might, like, All Might never takes damage. Why would you take the passive where he gets more attack, you know, as he loses health? Dude, when you get into the higher you know, levels of hero assessment, the higher ranks, the higher floors, yes, he does take damage. And yes, that does come into effect. So again, Endeavor is going to be a little bit more of a glass cannon now. You know, you have to dodge things. You can't just mindlessly take hits and heal off of it now. He does have other ways to heal, and he won't go below 25% of his max HP from burning himself. He is going to destroy stuff, guys. He is going to... Well, I know All Might does a lot of damage. Wait till you see Endeavor, okay? But again, the backdraw to that is, just like him in the anime, he will burn himself out, and it will hurt. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below how you feel about these changes. Seriously, I want to hear from you guys. I hope the company responds to my Twitter post that I put out. Subscribe for future content. Catch me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ClayFuseAlt, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.